Welcome to today's episode of the Made for More podcast. Today I am joined by the absolute rock star that is Michelle Bowden. Hello, Michelle, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Ally. So great to chat with you today.
It is so great to have you on. I'm really excited to talk about today's topic and your area of expertise and what you can share with our listeners and those that are watching on YouTube. But before we get too far into it, can you share a little bit about where did you come from and where are you going?
I came from Canberra.
Wow, are you an OG?
I came from the nation's capital. My dad was a public servant, and
Right.
I was a ballet dancer like you.
Ah,
And
we haven't talked about this. Good.
yes, yes. And so I was on the stage, and I just knew that I was always going to end up on a stage. And where am I going? To more stages.
Amazing. So Canberra, did you grow up in Canberra?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
I did.
Right.
Grew up in Canberra. I went to school there. I was born here in Sydney and then moved to Canberra with my dad and my brother and my mum. And I just went to school and uni and lived a Canberra life, which was a very sporty, fresh, out in the environment, living life and participating in lots of activities. It was a great childhood.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So tell me how you transitioned to what you're doing now, because you've been in business for a long time. We're just talking about that before I hit record. What was your journey to doing the work that you do now?
I was working as a secretary
Yep.
at Lend-Lease.
Ah, okay.
I have a fine arts degree, and I was working as a secretary. And about 3 months into the job, I was very bored, and I said to my boss at the time, I'm going to write a proposal asking Lend-Lease to create a training department, make me a trainer, send me back to university to be a trainer. And they accepted my proposal and they paid for my uni to do a graduate
I
certificate on
love it.
education. And I was 22 with a fine arts degree that couldn't really get any other job.
Yeah.
And there I was now studying at uni, and they did actually find me a boss, made me a trainer, and I worked at Lend-Lease for a couple of years. Then I worked for More FA Workshops, which is a presentation skills training consultancy
Yeah.
where there are NIDA actors co-facilitating the courses. Our
Oh,
National
that's
Institute
great.
of Dramatic Arts is a great place for those actors to learn not just how to act, but also how to facilitate groups. And I was so blessed. I got to work with Anthony Simcoe, who's one of the actors in The Castle.
Wow.
And I just learned so much from those actors. It was a really great experience. And then I worked for some other training companies for a couple of years. And when I was pregnant with my first of three daughters, I decided I would set up my own company running presentation skills. Because whilst I had run other subject matters, leadership, customer service, negotiation skills, other subject matters, I realized that public speaking and presentation skills was the thing I was best at teaching and also the thing that I loved the most.
Oh my
Set up a
gosh.
company with that as the ambition.
I love it. And I think going back to when you were 22 and put together a proposal, that just goes to show if you don't ask, you don't get. And I
Isn't
love that
it
you
the
were like,
truth?
this is what I want, and here's what I'm going to do, and here's how we're going for it. And now hundreds of thousands of people are benefiting from it. So
Mhm.
presentation skills, I think it's becoming more and more topical. Now it's sort of used to be kind of a fluffy on the edge skill. Now I think it is a must have, particularly any execs. If you cannot present well, then likely you're going to be hitting some career hurdles. Tell me more about your presentation skills. Tell me about the people that you work with, what it is that you love about it.
Sure. I'm going to just pick up one of the things that you said, because isn't it just so true that we call it a soft skill?
Oh, yeah.
And boy, is that not the truth. Yeah, and in fact, one of my past clients, Endeavour Drinks, call them power skills.
Oh,
I
that's a
think
good reframe.
such a better reframe, because if you cannot, it doesn't matter how clever you are, if you cannot communicate your message in a clear and confident and compelling way, then
Hmm.
as you
Hmm.
say, those hurdles are going to happen and they're going to prevent you from moving forwards. So I do three things in the business. I run a 2-day persuasive presentation skills masterclass pretty much every week of the year, and I have for the last 26 years.
Hmm.
Coach executives and celebrities for the stage. So when someone's got a road show or they've got an important meeting or perhaps a big pitch that they're wanting to win, they might get me to come in and help either the pitch team to work on all their various parts of the presentation, or they might get me to work with their leader on how to craft the roadshow speech. And
Mhm.
then, as you know, Ali, I'm also a speaker and I speak on the subject of persuasion.
So good. Amazing. I think today I really want to focus on the presentation skills, and we're going to get you back to talk about persuasion because they're two
Of course,
huge topics that deserve
lovely.
their own space and their own episode.
Yeah,
So when
yeah.
it comes to presentation skills, can you share what are sort of the common, I guess, stumbling blocks that you see that you help people overcome?
Yes. So, firstly, people are nervous, which
Yeah.
we know, don't we?
Yeah.
It's one of the top three fears.
Yeah.
We did some research a couple of years ago with 800 people in our sample size, and 80% of people admitted to some sort of fear or anxiety over speaking in public at some point in their life. So, it's
Yeah.
very common, it's very normal, and it's very fixable, which is the great news.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the main reasons people would come to me is they're terrified of it. And
Mhm.
they're just sick of somebody else taking the credit for
Mm.
their idea, their hard work, their commitment to the business. If I could have a dollar for every woman that has said to me, I just don't like being in the spotlight, and so I delegate the speech to somebody
Right.
else. Oh, it's so frustrating. And you know, in fact, there was a girl that came to me from a pharmaceutical company some years ago now, who I still think of when I'm talking about this. She was so nervous, she didn't even think she was going to be able to get on the plane to come and work with me in
Oh
Sydney.
my gosh.
She just didn't
Mm.
think her legs were going to take her forwards. And then after the program's over, she's completely cured and now she's been promoted. I've got another girl that I worked with who fainted four times in front of the same, three times in front of the same group of people. And on the fourth occasion, got a standing ovation and then got promoted to vice president of the company in New York. So, like, this is fixable. And
Oh my
gosh, if
goodness.
you're listening to this and you get nervous before you present, even if you think you've been on courses before where they were supposed to have fixed you, if it didn't work, then you didn't work with the right person who knows exactly how to fix this. And
Yeah.
it's don't give up, because nerves is something that absolutely can be resolved. You can find presenting fun if you know how to do it.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think you and I are probably a little bit biased here because we both love we both love presenting. But I think
Yes.
back to, we were talking about ballet earlier, all
Mm,
those times on stage, and you probably had something similar. And
mm.
people be like, are you nervous? And I remember going like, no,
Terrible
no, I
question.
don't think I'm nervous, but I'm definitely excited.
That's
And when
it.
we talk about nervousness versus excitement, it's such a different energy and can completely change how we show up in the world.
And
And
yet, it's the same physiological experience.
yes,
So, yes, it's a reframe, so it gives you a different energy, but it's just adrenaline and endorphins in your system.
yeah,
So, what a great advice you've just shared with everyone just then. Yes, don't call it nervous. Don't
yeah.
ask your kid, are you nervous? It's a terrible question
Are
to
you
ask someone
excited?
you
Be
love.
excited.
Just say, are you ready? Are you prepared? Are you good?
Yeah.
Are you positive? Don't, it's not nerves, it's excitement.
Mm,
So the second
so good.
thing that people would come to me for is they just have no clue how to structure it, the message.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So it's frustrating, isn't it, when you go to a meeting and you say what you say and then you walk out and you didn't get what you wanted. Maybe the person didn't approve it, or they just seemed bored in the meeting. They looked like they were online and they were doing their other work or something like that. And it's all because you weren't captivating, you weren't engaging, your message wasn't clear. So, and also, to be honest, that the whole thing about structure relates terribly to the nerves.
Mm,
If you haven't done, there are three phases to a persuasive presentation in business. The phases are analysis, design, and delivery.
hmm
So
hmm
analysis is where you work out, what am I trying to achieve as the presenter? What does my audience need from me? And there's a brilliant, fast 20-minute model that you can use to work that stuff out. What is the current state of the audience, and what is my desired state for them?
hmm
Then the second phase is the design phase, which has nothing to do with the slides. It's the talk track or the script, the
Yep.
words you're going to say. And there are two great models that, again, quite fast to apply that help you craft that message so it meets the audience's needs and shifts them. And then the third phase is delivery, which is all the stuff people would be thinking of when you think of the words presentation skills. It's your stance, your gesture, your movement, your eye contact, your slide design and delivery, your interaction with the audience, and all of that stuff. So, nerves is resolved by doing an analysis and getting into your audience's shoes,
Yeah.
also designing a well-structured message that you know in your heart and mind is going to shift the audience to where you want them to be. And then, of course, you'll deliver well too. If your analysis and design is thorough, when you deliver, your gestures will be congruent, your body language will work, your eye contact will or can be direct, you will connect better. It just, all of that stuff falls into place, in my opinion, when you've done your analysis and design right.
Mm.
Mm.
So good. And I love that you talked about the analysis because what I find, and working in the communication space, whether it's small communications or large communications that's going out, is
Mm.
very rarely have people thought about what they actually want the message to be. Like, oh,
Exactly.
I've got this stuff that I need to share, and I think we could do it this way. But also, what do you want people to walk away with? Like, what is the
Yeah.
key point and purpose? And they go, oh, I don't really know. I just need to communicate. That's what I'm meant to be
Yeah.
doing. And I think, oh my
Or
goodness, such a missed
that's it.
opportunity. Yeah.
Exactly. Or I've got a meeting at 12, and that's the only thought that happens in your mind. I've got a meeting at 12. So
Yeah.
you log on to the meeting at 12 and then just go with it.
It's like a surprise.
Terrible. You've got to be nervous and you won't be as effective. You can't be consistently effective if you haven't applied the formulas that work.
Absolutely. And I think particularly for like our leaders that are listening to this, and obviously I'm preaching to the converted here, but just that importance of being able to articulate your ideas and
Mm,
instructions,
mm,
expectations with clarity. And you can't have that without any of those three steps that you talked about with the structure as well.
yeah.
What's your third thing? The nervousness, structure.
Well, let me think about that. So I'd say the other thing is they just don't know what to do with their hands, or they're worried about saying, you know, there are a lot of people that worry about I'm not so fussed about I created a model in 2006 called the Persuasion Blueprint that has 13 linguistic patterns in it.
Yes, right.
A linguistic pattern is the way you combine your words in your sentences. And when you use the linguistics cleverly, it makes you way more persuasive, way more engaging, way more confident. So, and
Mhm.
each of the linguistics has a different job. So, for example, one is to build rapport, one is to motivate, one is to manage conflict, one is to run a Q&A, one is to close the meeting, one is to ask for what you want. They're
Yep.
all different ones and they all do different jobs. So you can see, for me, is not really a consideration. It's a low level worry. Don't worry if you say pretty
Mm.
much. There
Yep.
are other more important things to worry about. And same with the hands. I feel like, yes, of course, you shouldn't put your hands across we call it the fig leaf position, if the
Mm.
can
Yes.
imagine that in their mind.
Yes.
The hands go over your nether region. So, yes, of course, you shouldn't put your hands down there, and you probably shouldn't pray either.
Hmm.
It's a weird gesture called a steeple position, which is where you press the tips of your fingers together
Yep.
and lay out your palms, a bit like the guy on The
I was
Simpsons.
going to say, is it the guy from The Simpsons? Yeah, what was his name?
Yeah.
The one
I
without the
can't
hair.
remember what his
I
name is
never got
either.
into it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so that's weird
Smithers.
too, right?
No, that was the other one. Oh, I
if
don't
it's
know.
if it's weird, right, don't do it. That's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
I think when it comes to stuff like that, maybe, and also I'll tell you another one is I've been told by my boss over and over that I speak too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Just quickly, if you're a fast thinker, you're a fast talker. If you're a fast talker and someone asks you to speak slowly, your brain's going to stop and you won't be
Yep.
able to talk at all. And now you seem stupid as well. So that's not very
You're
helpful.
fast and stupid.
That's it, fast and stupid. So, the best advice that I always give people who are fast talkers is don't speak slower, just pause longer between the bursts of fast. A bit like telling you to speak slowly. It'd be
Mm.
ridiculous, right? Your brain is so amazing and you think so fast. You don't want to speak more slowly. You just
No,
need to
I'll
give up
forget
the
what I'm
moment.
saying.
That's it. And so you just need a moment when you pause, think of that as the gift. It means that the audience is going to catch up with what you've said
Mm.
and they're going to make sense of that in their mind. and now they're ready for the next fast burst of speaking. That's a much better advice. And actually, while I think of it, the other thing that people are frequently told, and I'm sure your listeners fall into this category too, you lack executive presence. What
Yeah.
a ridiculous thing to say to a human. I mean, seriously, what even does that mean?
Yeah.
Talk about wishy-washy, ridiculous, unstructured feedback. So, yeah, I do work with a lot of people who've been told in a cruel way most of the time, you'll never be promoted to that really senior level in business because you lack executive presence. So, I feel like there's a few things we can do to help with that too.
Yes. Yes. And what
If
they're really saying is actually you're not influential enough and we're not noticing or hearing what you're saying because it's in an
Yes,
unstructured way or perhaps
that's
your
it.
delivery is no good.
That's
So
it. You
yes, so
haven't thought about it, you haven't planned, you haven't structured. And with body language to do with executive presence, it's the top half of your chest.
yep.
I'm sure you coach people in this too. The top part of the chest, sort of above the nipple line,
Yeah.
is part of your chest that people observe when you are strong.
Yes.
And when your diaphragmatic breath is working well, your voice is nice and strong, and your diaphragm works better when the top part of your chest is nice and firm. So if you hunch your shoulders over and cave your shoulders in,
Yeah.
that top part of the chest also caves in, and that's not what we would call executive presence. That person looks unwell, or they look shy, or they look
Yep.
introverted. That's not going to help you with your executive presence. So there's a few things like that that we can work on. Yeah, back to the analysis and design though. You need the three phases and follow the formulas if you want to be a great business presenter.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such an important skill. Like it goes far beyond the executive presence. It's around
Mhm.
people and how they perceive you and your identity and how you
Of
show up
course,
and the words and the conviction and all of those things combined together
indeed.
to create, as you mentioned earlier, those power skill sets that, should become natural, but actually they are a learned and easily fixable skill
Yeah.
as well. What do you think's the easiest win for people when it comes to presentation skills? So say they can't make it to one of
Mm,
your 2-day programs, what would
mm,
you say is like one of the things where, the stand up
yeah.
tall, maybe it is that posture,
Mm,
maybe it is around the structure, maybe it is something else. What do
mhm.
you think is one of those like low hanging fruits for
Yep.
people to go, hey, I'll try this one thing and get some massive wins on the board?
Great question. I've just written a blog on LinkedIn that says, "Don't say great question."
As soon as you said it, I'm like, is that where you're going with this?
No,
I
it's
saw that. We'll
not.
talk about that in a sec, actually.
So actually, it is a great question though.
Thank you.
So the number one thing is whites of the eyes, eye contact.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool. Okay. I haven't
that's
heard
what it
this
is.
before. Tell me
So
that.
yeah, so not the pupil of the eyeball, which is the colored part of your eye. You
Yeah.
want to look to the white part of people's eyes. When you look into the white part of people's eyes, they feel you're fully connected with them. Some people call
Right.
the whites of the eyes the click. Imagine a click. It's an intuitive thing, not a logical thing.
Yeah, right.
As you're listening to me talking, just imagine I see you, and in that moment, you see me back, and
Mm,
click. It's that micro moment in
mm,
time. We see
hmm.
each other at the same time. And that is amazing for connection. It's amazing for rapport. It's the number one trick to managing your nerves because if you're focused on them and their whites, you're not as focused on your own heart thumping and the fact you want to vomit. So, the whites of the eyes is the thing that makes someone not just a good speaker, an amazing speaker in our profession, but it's also the thing that makes you not just that good business presenter, it makes you that charismatic leader, that influential human that people want to pay attention to.
That's amazing. I've never heard about that.
Mm.
The whites of the eyes and the click.
Yeah, that's why I'm the best at it in Australia.
Yes, you are the best at it in Australia, but I've not heard of that. Out of all of the
Oh,
presenting skills, out of all of my history in dance and stagecraft,
yeah,
never heard the click.
that's it.
Oh,
And
top
as a
tip.
ballerina, imagine if we had have known that, we would have been even better on stage. If we had
Yeah.
into the whites of the audience's eyes, I think it would have made us even better dancers.
Well, it's interesting because I think back to that, and the idea was always to project to the back of the lighting box, right? Like all
That's
the way
it.
to the back.
That's it.
And now I talk about, well, we don't pay attention to people's feedback in the nosebleed section, right? Like you really pay attention to who's in front of you. So it
Mm,
is very different, I guess, that kind of who's there
mm,
and
mm.
how far away they are from you in terms of
Yeah,
an audience, whether it's in a boardroom or, someone is having to deliver like an
yes,
all hands
yes.
message or something like that.
Yes.
Now
And you want to
you
try and aim in an all hands, you want to try and aim to look at every single person in the white at least once.
so
So it
good.
almost becomes a game from a speaker's point of view that if you haven't succeeded by the end, then you haven't been as connected or audience focused as you probably could have been.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
was
so
actually
good.
at the ballet recently, and one of the dancers looked up. I was up in the stalls, and a dancer looked up when she was performing, and I felt like she looked at me, and I just thought that was so
You're
special.
like, give a little wave, like, hi.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, up in the boxes. I love it. Now, you mentioned about your email. Now, you've had a couple of really wonderful LinkedIn posts. A couple of them have
Mm.
gone viral. Let's talk about the one that you just mentioned around the do's and the don'ts or the myth busting, which
Mhm.
was, what did it say? It said,
I'd say great question.
don't say great question.
Which I just
Why?
said. Yeah, yeah. So the reason is, of course, that when not all questions are great. So you look like you lack the ability to discern which is and which is not a great question. You want to try and find some other ways of thanking the person for their question. So you might say to one person, thank you for your question. The other person, you might say, that's a great question. The other person, you might say, that's an interesting question. The other person, you might say, I'm so glad you asked me that.
Yeah.
And the next person, you might say, really nothing much at all, because you've got to break it up and you don't want to look like you've read a book on presenting or been on a course where someone told you what to do every time someone asked a question.
Mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
so, yeah, so that's just a little tiny little tip, isn't it? Not to call every question a great question.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think breaking up that repeater trap that people get into, and you're going, okay, this is a little bit too much now. We've heard it again. We've heard it again. The repeater with the
Yes,
arms, the repeater with the whatever kind of word
yes,
verbiage they get stuck on.
that's it.
Can we talk about your most viral
Oh,
LinkedIn
yes,
post? And you know what I'm talking about. Can you
yes,
share with the listeners, share with the audience what it was and what you think it
yeah.
was that made it really hit the mark for most of
Yeah.
your LinkedIn audience?
How many people listening to this right now would have a corporate deck that has a thank you slide at the very end? I reckon it'd be close to 100%.
I think it would be very close to 100% because that's the right thing to do, thank people.
Oh, no,
So,
it's not.
what was the context for it? I
Mm,
know it went off. We were talking about it in our group
yes,
of fellow speakers. What
yes,
happened?
it did
What
go
prompted
off.
that? And then
Yeah,
what happened as a result of that?
yeah, it did go off. So the rule is there's a thing in persuasion called the law of reciprocity. And the law of reciprocity states that if you do me a favor, I owe you in return. So if you're thanking your audience for coming, it means you now owe them for coming. You owe them something in return.
Yeah.
And what that can do is it can have your executive or your board now being more judgmental of your message. It can have your team feeling more judgmental about you as their leader and so on. So
And this is subconsciously.
yeah,
Yeah.
unconsciously, that's right. So it would be better to not say thank you. I always suggest to people at the start, you shouldn't say thanks for coming, thanks for your time, thanks for your attention. In sales, we shouldn't be saying thanks for the meeting or thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's such an ingrained habit, though, that it's the right thing to do, which is what you just said. And it actually isn't the right thing to do. You can still be very delighted to be there, very joyful and appreciative
Mhm.
of the moment without saying thank you and enacting the law of reciprocity. You can say, it's so great to see you today, Ali. Uh,
Mm. Mhm.
Ali, this meeting that we're about to have is going to be a great meeting. Um,
Yeah.
how great is it that we could catch up today and discuss this? There are so many other ways to say that at the start, and you most definitely shouldn't say at the end. In the end, you want to leave because of the law of this is another law, the law of primacy and recency, which
Mhm.
states that remember the first and the last thing we hear.
Mhm.
What you don't want is a thank you at the end, which now implies that you owe them as you leave the meeting.
Mhm.
You also don't want your contact details on the last slide because that's just a dreadful ending and it's not about you. shouldn't end in a summary. You shouldn't end with your call to action because in Australia that would seem pushy and people will react to that. They'll repel that.
Yes.
Actually, I think that there's a nice little tidy finish. So my persuasion blueprint model, which was the
Hmm.
I offered in that post that went viral, and everyone was saying, yes, please, I'd like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
The 13 steps that sit, the linguistics that sit over the top of the format model. Number four with the word MAT is
Yep.
international best practice for crafting a communication. So
Hmm.
Miss McCarthy's format model is your go-to model if you want to look that up
Hmm.
to structure anything, an email, a conversation, a meeting, or whatever. And then over the top of that is my persuasion blueprint. And the last six steps go like this. Firstly,
I'm taking
by
notes.
the way, by the way, so that's the extra little information that you want to give that doesn't fit in the body of the message, but just want to just add this little thing in while you've got the audience there. So you say, by
Yep.
the way, this other thing. Then you say, it's been my pleasure to present to you today, or
Hmm.
some version of
Hmm.
that, which is the thank you, but just not the words thank you.
Hmm.
It's been great to see you, or some other version like that. Then you do your contact details. And ideally, on a slide, you want to have your head taking up half the slide and the other half has your contact details on it.
Hmm.
You're doing an internal presentation and all the people in the meeting know who you are and you don't need to put your email or your Slack address up for them. What you would do there is probably say something like, if after today you'd like to reach out about anything that's been discussed, come and see me at my desk or send me a Teams invite or whatever's the way that you would want them to come and see you. That goes
Yep.
at, we call that, so it's step 8 to 13 of the model,
Hmm. Hmm.
8A, B, and C. 8A, other info. 8B, my pleasure. 8C, contact details.
Right.
Step 9 is the summary.
Yep.
Quick tip, a summary should always have three key messages in it, and it's a really good thing to say in summary
Hmm.
at the start of it because it wakes people up.
They're like, oh, here, we're getting to the good bit. That's right. Yeah.
They think I wasn't listening for the rest, so now this is the summary. I'll listen now. So it's good to say in summary and warn people. Then you call to action at
Hmm.
step 10. Ask for what you want. A call
Hmm.
to action is
Hmm.
clear, direct, and explicit, nice and clear.
Hmm.
Step 11 is the Q&A. Again, you shouldn't finish on a Q&A, which is something that most people do in meetings, and it's really not good practice. Again, because as you know, if you finish with a Q&A, because of the law of primacy and recency, it's highly likely that some random person in the meeting asks something out of scope or the
Yep.
opposite of the point that you were making, and now it's taken everybody off track, and that's what they're thinking about instead of your important messages. So do a Q&A, let people ask whatever they want. If they're more senior than you, all the more important that you let people ask what they want to ask.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
you need to bury the Q&A. And the way you do that is with steps 12 and 13. Negative and positive
Yeah.
consequences.
Hmm.
Negative and positive consequences, ending on a positive. Again, because of the law of primacy and recency, you want to end on a positive.
Yep.
If we don't take this approach with our AI implementation, this will happen. And when we do, this positive thing will happen. And then a
Yeah.
closing statement, which is a nice, short, sharp,
Bang.
sizzling little thing. This is an exciting opportunity for all of us. It's the
Yeah.
classic closing statement. Much better way of finishing. So the reason I think that the post went viral was because, firstly, everyone does say thank you at the end. In
Yeah.
fact, marketing departments have put a deck together that forces them to do it because it's in the template.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a shock to people's system. But secondly, just having this lovely, tidy, takes about a minute to run through those last six steps really
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Um, just a really nice, tidy way of ending your meeting so that people feel that it's been a good use of their time and they leave with the clear key messages in their mind.
I love it. And I'm also a big believer of finishing, not with a thank you, but with your like last,
Yeah,
whether it's a
boom.
quote or whether it's, a thing.
Yes,
And I open and close my keynotes with the same phrase.
yes,
But it is really
perfect.
interesting. So just yesterday, I was emceeing a speaker showcase. So it was a whole bunch of speakers, and they were
Wonderful.
doing their thing. It was fantastic. Every single one finished on a thank you, and some of them even tried to just finish strong. But the audience wasn't sure that people were done.
Oh, so I
Yes,
think it's very important to clap the audience.
yes,
From
yeah. Like give them a
but
clap.
not so much you, the listeners who are talking about corporate presenting. It'd be a bit funny, wouldn't it, if you clapped your colleagues in the
Well, I
meeting?
bet you could though. Maybe this could be a whole movement. Like
Yeah,
hashtag clap your
yeah,
colleagues.
yeah. Ali said.
Oh dear.
So I think as a speaker, I definitely teach to people to do the like, this is exciting for all of us. And then you stretch your arms out and you clap the audience. So they
Yes.
the end and then they clap you back. That's again, that's the law of reciprocity in action.
Yeah.
I'm clapping you, you should clap me. And then they clap. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's how
I
they
know.
learn.
Well, it's just wild
That's a
seeing
trap
it
for new
yesterday, and
plumbers.
I was like, oh my goodness, this is the clapping spot. And then as the MC, obviously that was my job to
Yeah,
prompt. But
yeah, yeah, that's
I,
it.
I
You
do
go
think
bursting on with your clapping so they knew it was the end. Gosh.
follow me, follow the leader. But I do think thank you is very much the
Mm.
socially accepted. Okay, we're done, and that's the end. But also, as you mentioned and went through all of those steps, not the best use of a slide or the best use to finish off
No.
a presentation, particularly if you are wanting people to take action, change their thinking, or
Mm.
do something before they walk out of the room and get back to their
Yeah.
Slack channel.
And I think actually that if you don't want those three things, if you don't want them to take action, if you don't want them to change in some way, why on earth did you have a meeting?
Yes, could have been an
Cancel
email.
that meeting. People are so busy. They don't
Yes.
have time for all these meetings where we're just updating and informing.
Yep.
If the reason we have a meeting is so that we understand that we have a current state, there's a desired state you're aiming for, and the presentation is designed to take the audience from their
From there to them.
state to your desired state. If there's no shift required, I wonder whether that could just be a nice email or some other type of communication. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Like, I think we just got, don't you reckon we go to too many
A
meetings?
100%. I think there's too many meetings that are we're off topic here, but I'll keep going because I'm on a rant now. There's too
Yeah.
many meetings that are like recurring meetings that perhaps have been
Yes.
a recurring fortnightly or weekly meeting for the last 5 years, and everyone's like, well, it's just Tuesday and that's what we do. I think there's too many meetings without an agenda, and there's too many meetings
Mm,
where we're going, what is the point of this? Where are we going? What's the
that's it.
outcome that we're looking
Yeah.
for? So when we
And
talk
you know
about
what?
busyness and time,
The reason there's no agenda, Ali, is because they haven't done their analysis at the
that
start,
is so
right? Here we
true.
come back to where we started today.
Yeah,
If you don't work out what is it that you're trying to achieve, then how are you supposed to come up with a reasonable agenda that
right.
is a good use of the other human's time? You know, one of
Yes.
the things someone once said to me as a speaker
Yeah.
was the audience could be somewhere else. And
Oh,
true as that, we all could be doing something else. So if you are the presenter, you owe it to the audience to serve them, to to make the absolute best use of that moment.
yeah.
Take a serious decision to make to take your communication seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And I also think if there's something that you've got a 30-minute slot to do your bit and you can do it in 25, do it in
Oh, please.
25. Give people
Yes, please.
back that precious resource. Look, now we're
Oh.
like ranting about the same thing. We're violently agreeing, Michelle, about the same thing.
I
My
know.
goodness. Well, this has been amazing. I love the click and the whites of the eyes. What are
Yeah.
your top 5 tips for
Hmm.
leaders or things that you wish that people knew earlier?
Number one, it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's all about the audience.
Yes.
Number two, if you're using slides, it is essential to ask the winning question,
Yes.
which is this the best way to visually reinforce this point? And if the answer is no, fix it,
Yes.
delete it, replace it.
Yep.
Number three, structure
Yep.
the message.
Hmm.
Bernice McCarthy's format model with the number four and the word mat is international best practice for
So
crafting
good.
communication. If people don't know it, they need to. Everyone I meet, all the many thousands of people that come to my training, everybody loves format. In fact, if you typed format into a Google search, I think you'd probably find about 13,000 testimonials about my training where all they're saying is, I love format.
Like that's not my good stuff. It's in
Yeah.
your is it in your book format?
It's absolutely in the
It's in
book.
my book too.
Yes,
Yep, both of them.
yes,
Such
yeah,
such an important framework for crafting
yeah,
messages that
absolutely.
hit. Yeah. So
It's
number, what are we up to? We've got
I think we might be, are we up to four now?
I think that four was
Four
four,
was
Matt.
format.
Four, that was clever.
Okay,
I see
that
what you
was
did
clever.
there.
I did
Yep.
that without meaning to. Now, the other thing I think is the most important just for today given the weather and the way everything's working, just don't worry about let it go.
Yeah, let it
You
go.
say it, never mind. Love yourself.
Mm, hmm
But
hmm
maybe that is number five, is that your mood is contagious, is yours worth
mm.
catching. So if you're all panicked about and whether you're moving your hands properly or whether you're standing in the right spot or all of that, if you're just all too self-focused and you're panicked, then your mood is my daughter Holly said this to me when she was a little girl, and she's 26 now, and she said to me, Mum, moods are contagious. Mum, is yours worth catching? Such a sassy little girl. But she was right. Your mood is contagious.
So true.
Have a think about what are they feeling before you talk? What do you want them to be feeling at the end? And
Hmm
whatever that is, you've got to feel it too. So if
Yep.
you want them to be excited, you've got to feel excited, and you need to use the words excite, excited, and excitement in your script, in your talk track.
Yes. Yes.
If you want them to be concerned, then you need to say the word concern and concerned, and you need to furrow your brow and you need to be worried yourself. Otherwise,
Yep.
it's not going to happen. So, yes, perhaps I've changed my mind midstream on number five.
Okay. You can
Like
have
it's
a
probably,
5.2, a 5.1, I mean,
yeah,
a supplementary.
is your mood worth catching? I think is very important.
Love it. My goodness.
We have a
Now, oh,
sixth.
pardon?
We have a sixth.
Oh, sure. Why not?
In an online meeting, look into the camera
Ah, yes.
and
Absolutely.
not at the faces, and press stop share more on your slides, so that it's
Oh,
bringing it
yes,
back
yes.
to all the faces as often as possible. That's number six.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is tricky, isn't it, to look into
It is.
down the barrel,
It
because
is.
you're busy looking at yourself and seeing how you're looking.
That's it.
Michelle, there will be people here that are listening that have absolutely eaten this up and taken a squillions of notes. Where do you hang out? Where can people find you? What's the best way to get into your world?
Thank you for your generous question.
Oh, I see what you did there.
www.michellebowden.com. Please connect to me on LinkedIn, because I post every single day on LinkedIn, and all
Beautiful.
free tips like don't say great question. And please reach out. I'd love to help you if I can.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. It has been an absolute delight. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise. And I do mean thank you, reciprocity. You have well and truly gone above and beyond to deliver. And I'm very appreciative of you sharing that with our audience.
You
So
are so welcome. I think we go together, don't
it's been a delight to have you on the show. And I can't wait to have you on again when we're going to be talking about your next favorite topic, which is all around persuasion.
Wonderful. What a
All right.
great chat we've had.
Until next time, see ya.